It says here, Lori is telling us, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder. That is the verdict from the jurors, according to Lori Brown, who is in the courtroom.
Carmelo Anthony deserves exactly what he got, unfortunately. If somebody walks up to you, says, yo, get out of my area where you working out, and you're like, nah, and then he pushes you, that doesn't give you a right to pull out a gun, shoot him. That doesn't give you a right to pull out a knife and stab him. That doesn't give you a right to pull out a bow and arrow him to death. That doesn't give you, that's not self-defense. That is murder. A 17-year-old boy stabbed in Frisco, Texas, over a tent. Carmelo Anthony got sentenced yesterday to 35 years in prison. Um, June 9th was the verdict. And from where I stand, he deserved everything that he got. I'm going to tell you my reasoning why, but let's get into this video. So here's exactly what happened. On April 2nd, 2025, Frisco, Texas, at Kendall Stadium, multiple high schools competing at a track meet. It's raining. Carmelo Anthony, 17 years old, sits under a memorial school tent. This is not his school. This is not his tent. Austin Metcalf, big old white boy, also 17, tells him to leave. Carmelo reaches for his bag. He says, touch me and see what happens. Metcalf pushes him. Carmelo pulls out a knife and stabs him in the chest. The blade pierces Metcalf's heart, dies in his brother's arms at the scene. Carmelo was arrested the same day. In court, the prosecutor had a lot of things to say, but this was something that stood out to me. The prosecutor said that you cannot meet a shove with a stab. That's just a not a self-defense type of situation at all. That's a decision that Carmelo made to get rid of this white boy because of him and his ego, and the white boy's ego started to clash. Now, from my understanding, Frisco, Texas is not a dangerous environment. It's one of the most up and coming environments in Texas. Why did Carmelo have a knife in his bag? I have no idea. We would never know. He might be smaller and had issues before in the past. Whatever. We don't know. But that still doesn't give him a right to, first of all, be carrying a weapon around school and then provoking people around school. That doesn't make things okay at all. According to multiple witnesses, Austin Metcalf did push Anthony before the stabbing. Look, however, witnesses also testified Anthony was the aggressor. He refused to leave. He reached into his bag first. He issued the warning. The key witness said he could not determine who was truly at fault. The jury heard all of it, deliberated less than 3 hours, and came back with murder, not manslaughter, but murder. Now, one of the biggest talking points as far as the whole case goes is that there was not one juror that was black on the pool. Now, the Next Generation Action Network, the civil rights organization representing Anthony's family, released a public statement saying the exclusion of all qualified black jurors from serving on this case sends a troubling message to the community and raises questions that cannot be ignored. There is no black juror at all. But my thing is, okay, if that's not going to happen, then why did the defense that was representing Carmelo Anthony not have him testify on the stand, tell his story? The boy was sitting over there crying, and he should have got on stand and really said what he felt. Why did he bring a knife? Why did he come at Austin like that? Why did he stab him? He needs to explain his thought process so that the juror could examine whether or not they feel if the boy deserves manslaughter or murder or life. He did not do so. That was a mistake on the defense's part. I would have never let my client or anybody of that nature, if I were a lawyer, to not get up and testify and speak on his behalf. I know he's a kid. He might get up there and say something that might incriminate himself because he might get emotional. But at the same token, the truth is going to come out regardless. So I told you at the beginning of video that I was going to tell you exactly why I feel like um, this verdict was the right call. Carmelo Anthony deserves 35 years in prison because of one single sentence. I want the sentence is touch me and see what's going to happen. If you were scared, you should have left. If you felt like your life was in danger, you should have left. If the white boy put his hands on you, you should have fought him. If the white boys start jumping you and you have a knife, that's when you bring out the knife. But you don't get to bring out the knife and then sit there and just stab somebody who shoved you. He put his hands on you, but that doesn't mean bring out a knife and stab him and kill him. That's not, it's very simple. Don't do that and you wouldn't be in jail. Fight him or leave. You're not even on his team at his school. Like, I don't understand what he was thinking. It seems like this is what I think that happened. Carmelo and this white boy, two testosterone driven males, come together. They understand that there's immediate tension. Carmelo knows he has a knife. This white boy is big, bigger than Carmelo. And so he thinks that he's going to intimidate and bully Carmelo. They both weren't in the right. They both were in the wrong. But where it turned deadly, obviously, was when Carmelo made the decision to bring out the knife and stab the white boy. Um, we need to understand that all the people that are protesting out there, murder is murder. You have no argument. There's no argument. Murder is murder. If somebody walks up to you, says, yo, get out of my area where you working out, and you're like, nah, and then he pushes you, that doesn't give you a right to pull out a gun, shoot him. That doesn't give you a right to pull out a knife and stab him. That doesn't give you a right to pull out a bow and arrow him to death. That doesn't give you, that's not self-defense. That is murder. It's very unfortunate because there's so many cases that are going on in the United States as far as the Asian man that just killed the black boy in the store. There's other cases that are going on as well. But this case right here, white jury, red jury, pink jury, black jury, no witness. This would have gone the Austin Metcalf's way. Carmelo Anthony deserves exactly what he got, unfortunately. So that's just my unpopular opinion. If somebody were to do something to you, and you pull out a knife, or if you were to do something to somebody and they pull out a knife and then they stab you to death, you're gonna be in heaven talking about, well, damn, I didn't expect for him to kill me, right? Like, I didn't want that type of smoke. Listen, I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. 35 years, man. Sap.